Entry number 1. What is love and where do I find it? What is love? What is love? What goes wrong in love? Why do relationships fail? Why do we struggle? Why do we get cheated on? Why do we always seem to fall in love with who we think is a wonderful person, and then we find out that they were just faking it, or they were a monster, or they change? What are we missing? I think love for a lot of people is something that is undefined. Love is a feeling that we chase, but we never actually describe it. We never dissect it, right? It's quite interesting. When I used to go through these, episodes of dating and getting to know people, I would ask people to write a list or to give me a list of 10 things their ideal partner must have and 10 things their ideal partner must not have. And it was quite funny how most of them, if I would ask that question on the spot, could not answer. But you gave them time to think about it and, a day or two, and they would actually have their list written out. And the more they would write out their list, especially if it's their first time doing it, you would realize that they didn't just write down 10 things. They wrote down 10, 15, 20. And it's like it got them thinking. It's like a question they had never thought before. But the funniest part about that is when you ask people this question of what their ideal partner must have and what they must not have. When you ask them that question on the spot, expecting an answer, and they can't answer it, the problem is not that they don't know what it is they love. The problem is that they don't know themselves. When you ask a question like this, they have to look within themselves and ask, what is it I truly want? And most of them don't know. So we ask ourselves, where do I find love? Well, it's difficult because not only do you as a human being need to know what it is you are looking for, but the person you end up with needs to know it as well. And this is where we run into the problem of people changing, people shift, people learn, people make mistakes. Because a lot of people haven't defined this definition yet of what love really is. Or if they have defined it, it's a weak definition. It's a maybe for now definition, but it's not a real definition. So what is love? I think for me, love has been many things in my life, from people that are simply there for me, to people that will listen, to people that support me, to people that do all of the above. I mean, to be perfectly honest, love has been, at some points in my life, just simply sex. Just a intimate connection with somebody through physical interaction. Love has been many things, and it can be many things, and I think it's supposed to be different for everybody. I will say there are certain guidelines I would give you. I think love is trust to be able to tell someone practically anything. It is that unconditional trust. It's an unconditional support. I don't want to say unconditional love, but an unconditional trust. The idea that there are certain people in my life where I know for a fact no matter what I did or what I told them, they would support me, or they would try to support me, or try to find a way. I think that's a big part of it. But another big part of it is this polarity in relationships. You have to understand what kind of person you are. If you read the book How to Be a 3% Man by Corey Wayne, he talks about polarities, and he's like, if you're 70% masculine and 30% feminine, then try to find the polarity. Try to find someone who's 70% feminine and 30% masculine. So it's important to understand ask yourself, what role do I want to play in a relationship? And this is really, really important, because I think a lot of people try to play both roles. They try to play both roles. And when you play both roles, what do? When you try to be the mother and the father, you just end up doing a really shitty job at being both. I can ask myself, what do I want to be someday? And I can proudly and confidently answer that I want to be a father. I want to be a father. And that is my focus. That is my focus. I will teach my kids what a father would teach their kids. And I will leave the the motherly side of this conversation to the mom. That's her job. So it's very, 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 very important when we go out looking for relationships. Is that the husband? Is that the father I want? Is that the mother I want? And this is a big deal for me. Because keep in mind, when you are going into these relationships with these people, and if you're doing it right and you're taking your time, kids is the goal. It's the goal to have a family. For most, if it's not for you, that's fine. But for those of you, for most of us, the idea is someday to have a family. And I want to be the best father I can be, meaning I need to be with someone that knows how to be the best mother she can be. Someone that can teach my kids, how to deal with their emotions, how to open up, how to address very sensitive subjects that I myself am still fucking figuring out how to do. So what goes wrong in relationships? I think the biggest problem relationships fall apart is people aren't ready for them. They don't know themselves, which is one of the biggest reasons why relationships are very dangerous when they happen quickly, is because if a relationship happens too fast, there's a very good chance you and the person you are talking to skipped a lot of very key pieces of information that become red flags in the future. A good rule of thumb is 90 days. 90 days. After 90 days, whoever it is you are talking to, the real them comes out. They cannot fake it for longer than that. 90 days is a good rule of thumb. Before you make any serious commitments, talk to someone for 90 days and fall in love with the courtship. Because courtship never ends. You have to understand that. Courtship never ends. The way you get someone to fall in love is the way you keep them in love. Courtship never ends. Never. So what are we missing? I think we're missing the time it takes to get to know who we are. I myself am doing that right now. There were a lot of things that I thought I had mastered in my last relationship. There were a lot of things I thought I knew. I thought I knew what I was doing. Even after spending so much research, a lot of people, grow up in broken households and they never actually take the time to ask themselves, what does a good relationship entail? And fucking God forbid they take the Facebook advice. Well, I saw this fucking live, laugh, love meme that told me communication is key. Like, okay, some shit's right, but deep dive, take a valiant effort to understand what it takes to be a good husband, to be a good wife, to be a good girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it is you need to be. Take time to do some research into that and really discover what it is you need to do for the person you're with and what do you need in return. It's a lot more thought than I think people are willing to admit, and it's work. It's fucking work. But most importantly, it's work to fall in love with yourself. Because if you are truly in love with yourself, you will find someone that lives up to the expectations you have demonstrated to yourself. If I truly fall in love with who I am, and I am proud of who I am, then I'm going to want to find someone that can see me the way I see me, if not better. And if you cannot love yourself, and you are looking for someone to fill that gap for you, you need to be careful. because this person is not adding to your life. This person is filling in space. And once that space is filled, you have to make sure you are not taking from them. You can drain them if you are not well on your own. So what is love and where do I find it? Well, you're going to find it anywhere. But I would say places you frequent, and you could find it any day, any time. I think the biggest thing is to live life the way you want to live your life, and love will find you. So let me end this with, I'll end it with this, okay? Love is work. Love is work. You wake up, you clock in every single day, not to say I love you, but to show I love you. Saying it is not enough. And your bad days are not an excuse to take a day off from your relationship. So if you're in a bad mood, I suggest you get the fuck over it. You don't get to choose not to be a father or a husband or a mother or a wife because you don't feel like it. Love is through thick and thin, and you chose them. So you should love them through heaven and hell, but you better be damn sure they are your heaven and not your hell. And when you find conflict, remember that love is you and me versus the problem. So if you cannot put down your ego or put down your pride, then that is not love, and you are the problem. Thank you guys for listening. I don't know if this is here to help me or you. I don't know if this is for me or for you, but I hope this helps someone. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next one. Have a great day.